Today we'll learn how to make Indian pakora, also known as Indian bhajia. So you need gram flour, not 2 kg of course, that's the packaging. And then we'll need to put in some masalas. So out of this we'll only need red chilli, and this is coriander, also known as dhania. So just these two, and of course salt we'll put in. Now I've already made the paste, and as you can see I've put in too much water, so it's really runny. If it's that runny, when we put it in the oil, it'll just split up into millions of tiny pieces. So because I've made it, if I've made a mistake, it's too runny, it's not a problem. We'll just add more gram flour to it, and then I'll show you the consistency in a second. Once that's done, whoops, slipped in. Once that's done, I've got potatoes and onion ready. Onion need to be chopped off, then they'll just go into this here. And right, so here's our gram flour. This looks about right here. A side note, when you're cutting onion, you want to make sure you get rid of this top bit here of the onion. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. So it's this bit here you want to get rid of. This isn't good for you, just that top bit. So if you can see with the other onion, I've chopped it off. It's only a little bit. Yeah, can you see it? Right, onion in there, and now go potatoes. I'll put the rest in a second. Mix it. Okay, so now it's mixed properly. Now we want to make sure we've got the right salt and the right amount of chili in there. So we take a spoon, a separate spoon, and we check. Oh, I dropped it on the floor. And we need more salt, and we need more chili. Bit of cooking etiquettes. When you're checking for taste, make sure you use a separate spoon. It is never ever acceptable to use the same spoon, taste it, and then put it back in again, even if you're eating just by yourself. This lot isn't for me, it's for the whole family. But regardless, if you're tasting something, make sure you use a separate spoon for tasting, and then that spoon goes into the sink and not back in there again. And we'll put more coriander. And we'll put more salt. This is rock salt, by the way, that's why it's funny color, pink. Stir it with one hand, so I'll need to turn the camera off. Right, I think oil is done. It's hot, but I'm not sure. So how do we check? This is the way of testing if it's the right temperature to put it in. Lift a small bit, and okay, so when we put it in, it comes straight back up again, and as you can see, it's swimming around at speed, which means the oil is the right temperature for us to fry. If this had sunk in the oil or came up really slow, then that means we still need to heat up the oil. So now it's ready. Now I just gotta be careful, because this is serious stuff now. So spoonful, and you gotta be careful that it doesn't splash, because if the oil splashes, it's really hot. It'll burn anything wherever it's splattered. Drop the temperature a little bit.
This goes in like this.
Okay, learn from my mistakes. The oil was too hot when we put it in. How do we know that? Because this, the very first one, went brown really quick. We don't want it to go brown really quick, because that means the outside is cooked and the inside is still raw. So we want to make sure that the temperature is dropped down so that it cooks slowly. When it cooks slowly, not too slow, you don't want it all the way to the end, because that's too slow, then it'll just get chewy. But we don't want it full either, so we want it somewhere in the middle so that it cooks slowly enough from the inside and outside. And as you can see, because these were also put in earlier, they've gone brown. The other ones are still lighter shade, which means they're cooking at the right temperature. Now as soon as it turned brown like that, we gotta turn them over. So when should we stop cooking them? Well, it depends on you. Some people like them really crispy, which means you have to wait for them to get really dark. We prefer ours medium, so we kind of have them a little lighter, about just slightly darker than that, but not, this is too dark actually. So let's take this out. This is actually done. Also, if you overcook them and you want them really crispy, then they can go a little bitter as well. Right, so have you noticed what I did there? Keep it on the side, don't press it too hard, otherwise the whole utensil will tilt towards you. Really, with a really light hand, we're keeping it like that so that all the oil drips back into the pan, pot, utensil, whatever. So here it is. That's the first one we've made. Now let's So that's our first lot done there. More to go. Right, so I've made pakoras and I've still got some paste left, which is why I've chopped up another potato and I'm putting that in. I've also got a chili that I'm putting in. Mum likes chili pakora. Obviously not too much, that's why we've only got one chili. And then chili I'll put in right at the end. One thing about chili is when you touch it, make sure you wash your hands off, because if you touch anywhere else it will burn, especially your eyes. Okay, so potato. Before you put your hands in there, make sure you wash them. Mine have been washed. Right, dipped in batter. So here it goes. Did you see how I dropped it in the oil? Real slow, because if it makes a splash, that's not good. So slowly take it really close and then drop it slowly. Obviously not too close, you don't want to be burning your fingers. And we made a bit of a mess. Now a tip about cooking is, as soon as you make a mess, clean it up, because it's easier to clean it now than it would be later on. And as you can see, it's already begun to harden, right? Now if we leave this on, then it'll harden to the point whereby not only would it take longer to clean, but it also create a mess, because then we'll have to scratch it and then it leaves scratch marks all over. Look at that. That's what happens. Same applies to relationships. Soon as you make a mistake, correct it. Apologize straight away. Amend them. Don't prolong it for too long. See, cooking and life have something in common, don't they?